Welcome to Color Me Happy. My name is Brandy Hofer. I sure do appreciate you being here today and taking the time to plug in and listen. We chat with Jill Kelly in this episode. She is the founder and owner, CEO of Red Bicycle Communications. She really rocks. She's a crazy good female entrepreneur. I look up to her in so many ways. And in this episode, we chat about how it all began, her journey, and how she found a hole in our market locally, and how she built this whole thing from scratch by herself, and now she has a team of 7 people. So I'm so proud of her. We also reflect on female entrepreneurs and stats, some really interesting stats Jill had, and how we need to change that, and how we need to change it by working together and collaborating and lifting one another up instead of competing. I think you'll really enjoy this episode, and we'll enjoy it. And okay, welcome Jill, my friend from Red Bicycle Communications. We have known each other since school, actually, right?
Yeah, we went to Europe together. Did you know that?
Whoa. That was a nightmare. Was it a nightmare for you? Do you remember it being a nightmare?
No, I liked it. I remember the cops getting called.
That's what I mean.
Yes, potential deportation or potentially staying in Europe longer, like the opposite of deportation happening, but not with me.
So no, we were very good. Except for the lost passports. Do you remember that as well?
Somebody missed their passport?
There were some lost passports. There were so many things. You know, when your peers are having a bad time, that some things are amiss. And as an adult looking back, I'm like, wow, that would have been a nightmare for the chaperones.
Oh my God, yeah.
They still talk about it to this day as the worst Europe trip on
Really?
the high school record.
Ooh. I just want to be clear to everybody listening that Brandy and Jill were angels, and this was not us.
I wasn't an angel, actually, but I was just really sleuthy by that time. Because I feel like, and sorry for everyone listening who went on it and was maybe a little bit mischievous, but I had been pretty mischievous leading up to the trip. So like, that wasn't my main goal in Europe. I was there to see art and eat really good food and have wine, because I had already drank wine in my life. It wasn't my first time. I feel like there was a lot of first times for people on that trip, and they were like, freedom! And
I got my belly button pierced on that
trip. For a lot of, like, parents had like held on tight, and they were like, yes. And by that time I had like already I was seasoned a little. Like, I snuck off, and so a lot of people got in trouble for drinking and whatever, and got banned from the Robin Hood Castle, the film Robin Hood with Kevin Costner.
Yes, but you know what? Everybody on that trip was drinking. They're just the people who got caught.
Yes. And went the thing, I would sneak off to fancy restaurants with one other chosen individual.
Yeah, not like your whole group.
And some fancy wine. And we would have a quiet dinner, and then we'd arrive back to the hotel, and everyone would be like, we got caught in the pub. And I was like, oh, too bad. I was
the pub across the street from where the teachers were staying. Oh, you don't say. You're sitting on the patio.
So I want to hear, actually, right from the beginning, because I kind of know bits and pieces of your story as a female business person in our community, but I'd actually like, and I'm sure our listeners would love to know how it really started, and what did you see in our community that you thought you could that role you could fulfill?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know where to start. Like, so I'm from Lloyd. I moved away for school and worked in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I was so fortunate to work at one of the top advertising agencies in Atlantic Canada. It was amazing. I love my job. Every day I'd wake up, I'd walk a little bit extra along the side, along the ocean, just because why not?
Yeah.
I
And I
went
know
to,
what you're talking about because it's funny,
yeah,
like
you went to
our
NASCAD.
paths crossed
Oh,
too. Yeah,
you're
I
definitely
went to NASCAD and lived in Halifax for a couple years. So
Yeah, beautiful space. I would
that
love
was
to go
cool.
back. Actually, I'm visiting them next week, so I am going
Oh,
back, but just for a visit.
lucky.
Anyway, so I woke up every day by the ocean. I walked along it to go to work. I went to an amazing job where, again, I worked at one of the top advertising agencies in Atlantic Canada. Loved my job, loved everything about it. Then my husband, at the time boyfriend, got a job offer back in both of our hometown of Lloydminster. And I've never been the person who didn't like my hometown. I've always loved Lloyd. I never closed it off as moving back to. It was just, just not at the current moment in time did I live here.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a job offer and he just finished school and I had been out for 2 years. So I was like, yeah, sure. We can, we move back to Lloyd and you can get your career started. And then as a marketing person, I was quite nervous about it because there's not a lot of marketing opportunities in a small town, or so I thought. And I kind of did a little bit of research and there's like maybe 2 or 3 places that I could work. Didn't really see a lot of potential. And I just said to my husband, like, look, I'm here for this. I'm here for you. We'll give Lloyd a shot. We'll give it 2 years. I think 1 year I could kind of, skate by. 2 years I had to put a solid effort in. 2 years in Lloyd. And if I end up being something that's just not in my field, then we're going to move to a bigger center where we both can thrive. And that was our deal. So I moved back to Lloyd and we haven't left. It's been 8
Kind
years.
of worked out a little bit.
Kind of worked out. Yeah. I moved back to Lloyd. I got a job working at King's Husky at the time, and they were my client. I was freelancing to them, and their job was they're wanting to do a rebrand. And so I worked with them exclusively for 6 months and continued the relationship beyond that. But I took on a couple more clients because as word got out that, this is what I was doing, that there was somebody in town that could do it. A lot of people had gone to, the big city of Edmonton or Saskatoon even for these services, that somebody in Lloyd knew what they were doing. They had experience in marketing and branding and whatnot, and could help. Then I got a lot of people, a lot of business owners messaging me or calling me or what have you, saying, once you're done with King's, come over to my company and do the same for me, or help us, whatever their goals were, help us achieve those goals. And I said yes to everybody and started my own agency. Yeah.
Long story short.
Long story short, yeah, I took on a couple clients at once, and for me, Lloyd is such a great place to grow up, and there's so much potential here. We are a very entrepreneurial city. We're very community oriented, and it was small enough that I knew a lot of people, but big enough where I didn't know a lot of people at the same time. And I just like going out to my local restaurant and seeing half the people in the restaurant I know and saying hi to them. Like,
It is a great feeling where you can step out and your friends are all there.
Honestly, yeah.
Have really good conversations and connections, and everyone, you're right, everyone supports each other, and that is really key to our small community success. Like, there is so much opportunity here for startups and for, even people, like I have some friends who have immigrated, and, Lloyd I said, why did you come to Lloydminster? Like, what, like, because they have the globe. They
Yeah,
have
they love
the
it.
whole,
They
the
love
whole globe to choose from. And they said it looked really good on paper. It's a safe place for our families to grow up, and there is so much opportunity, and we love it. And I said, and it just made me like step back and realize you're right. Like, it's not like I came from a negative place, but you
it. You
always
take it
think
for
grass
granted.
is greener, right?
Yeah. Oh,
When
for
we
sure.
grow up here, I know I wasn't like you. I couldn't wait to go. And then I did go and realized how important my family was and how important that was to me to be close to my roots. So,
I'm all for leaving. I think everyone should leave. I
yeah.
honestly do. I think go explore the world, do whatever it is that you need to do. Go fulfill that niche for you. Go jump off a cliff, do your
Yeah.
thing. Expand your horizons, but don't slam the door on your way out. Like,
No, no, no.
yeah. And
But I mean, when you're 19, you're a little bit naive, and I mean, still a baby, right? Like,
yeah.
um, but today and for a long time, I've known that I could not have done what I've done without my beautiful community, and I love it here, and I love everyone, and just having such a good time. And it's kind of neat, you know, just having something like, okay, maybe someone's not doing it here, but it's kind of neat, showing people the your ability and sharing your abilities and having it work out. And so when you had a really cool feature too at the beginning in the Toronto Star, correct?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember that? Let me just bring
Yeah.
up your past accomplishments.
Let's talk about me.
Yeah. I remember because you were sitting on your cool green couch, and
That's
if you see Jill on her social media, so it's for Instagram, people can check it out at Red Bicycle.
COM.
Yeah, so they always have this. They have this cute little couch, and they have really cool, funny reels. And but you were on your signature piece in like a big spread of the paper, and I was like, "Oh, that's impressive."
It was, and it was not, I want to be like, oh, it was all my marketing brilliance. This is where it comes back to community though. Somebody had talked to, I think the chamber had talked to the National Post. That's who originally published the article. And the National Post had contacted another local business, trying to get more into the story, and then who had mentioned my name. And then that's how I became more or less the headliner of it, which is super random for me to have had that. But it was all community, right?
Yeah, yeah. No,
And
and
yeah.
that's the thing where people, sorry to interrupt, but
Oh yeah.
it just brought a thought on, you know, like in fact, this morning I like was like right because times are really challenging right now and heavy. And people see like they see you appearing in that article, or they see a nice photo of me with my kids, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't, I'm
Life
not
is good
doing
for
those
someone else.
things, and I'm not good
Yeah.
enough, and I'm not like, and the thing is, you have to just keep going, and you just have to keep um connecting and reaching out and get like 1,000 no's,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you'll get a really great surprise.
Yeah.
And it's not like you don't deserve it, it's just not ready, you're just
Not your
not,
time.
it's not your time, and those things will happen
Yeah.
eventually, and lead, and those no's, they weren't meant for you, and they will lead, the yeses are where you're meant to go, and it's for a
And you'll
reason.
appreciate it.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
think Michelle, so I work with you guys a bit, and I work with Michelle, and
Mm-hmm.
she said something really important, and I always say it, for like businesses scaling up. She's like, I'm all for people scaling up and getting successful, but when they're ready.
Yeah.
Because I feel like right now, if my business really went boom, 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 I wouldn't, like, some things would fall apart on the sidelines. Um, And so the slow growth is important too, you know. And it's not about fame or anything, it's about like success, but when you're ready.
Yeah. Well, and nobody knows what happens behind the scenes, right? So that article that came out, oh, like my first year, so like probably 7 years ago now. I don't want to say 8 or more. I don't want to be that old, but a while
I don't
ago.
want to tell you when I graduated.
Um, but yeah, it came out right away, and it was the universe coming together and a lot of dumb luck. And I like to also think of it as me naming my company something cool that people remember, right? So it was just some other business owner had mentioned my company as an example. So the whole article is about the recession and how we had thought, you know, we're all screwed because
We're doomed.
we're doomed. And yet here I was opening a new business in the midst of a recession, and how, yeah, you know, it's kind of scary. We had lost a client at the time that was a relatively big client, but we gained 3 more right away. So it's just one of those things, like throughout, we've had a couple, unfortunately, recessions since we've opened. We're on what, number 2? Hopefully that's the cap. But every time that there's a dip in the economy, we end up losing 1 or 2 clients due to financial reasons. And then we end up gaining like 3, 4, 5 more in the process. So we're pretty fortunate that way, like knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, the ad world, like it's not going anywhere because in order to generate revenue, you need to place ads,
Well, you need to talk
especially
to
at
your
this
clients.
point in time, right?
Especially
So,
during a downturn, especially when people are like, are you open? What are you changing during a pandemic? How do I purchase from you? Is it curbside only? Do I have to wear a mask? Can I come in? Are you closed forever? Like, what are the rules? And of course, you know, at the beginning, it was a lot more, I don't know, let's try to figure it out. But some people would, you know, unfortunately, every other day somebody would close, but then on the other side, somebody would open. So it's about communicating to your audience and making sure that, you know, they know that you're still there. So,
yeah.
yeah. So that was the
Yeah.
whole article that came out in the roundabout.
Pretty good. Hold on 1 second, because I run my podcast with my children around. Hello. Okay. Yeah, we're back. I got one of those. Well, I got a big iPad for creating because I keep getting jobs that require digital creation, which is funny because it's not a service I offer.
It is now.
Just now. I just keep getting these jobs and I'm like, okay. And I'm not like, I don't say no. I'm starting to say no. But I just believe that every door could lead to something else, that just because I'm not super comfortable with it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. I'll give it my best try.
Yeah,
Right?
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if people know what art licensing is, but you obviously know what art licensing is. Like, you look around everywhere and there's art on your agenda, there's art on your mug, there's art everywhere. So the digital age is more of a, you know, a thing. And I find myself mixing the mediums, not just like physically making artwork, but combining mediums to you know, suit a greeting card or and so it's per job per, it's actually a really good thing for artists. And there's really big sites that you can do that on, and it's good. But that's the thing, you just like what we talked about, you just never know what's behind each corner, and every day you open your emails and you're like, oh, okay.
New projects.
Yeah, new project. I'll try my best. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have, how long were you like doing it solo for? How many years?
Oh, I don't know, 1 or 2 years. I want to say one. I think
Oh, that's not that long.
No, it wasn't that long. I was doing, like I said, when everyone came to me and they're like, oh, I want you to do it for my business. And I said yes to everybody. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to be so rich, working my business and whatever. And no, as many entrepreneurs will know, there's a lot that goes into your business that you don't actually get paid for. And then there's the other side where people don't want to pay for something, even though it took you a lot of time.
You're talking to someone who knows that really.
Do you know anything about that? Yeah. Yes. So, and then it just became so overwhelming for me where I would be taking a client meeting, which is absolutely critical, obviously, talking to the client, but then I wouldn't have time to actually work on the client's stuff because I was in a meeting talking to them. And every client wants, it's like when I tell people, if you ever went to university, you know, every teacher there does not care that you're in another class. Their class, regardless of what it is the most important and should be therefore the most important to you. That's how that's how I look at our clients too. Like, they don't care that we have other clients. Their work is the most important because it is, quite frankly, their livelihood.
Yeah.
So regardless of the level, if you're coming in for like a small project or you're a retainer client or whatever, it doesn't matter. We want you to feel like your job is the most important to us because it should be. And yeah, I can't remember where I was going. Oh, so I hired somebody because I hired a designer who could help me do some of the design work while I was in a meeting. I didn't want to give up the meeting part of it. Being, you know, the face of the company, people wanted to meet with me. And then I had a designer I would draw something and they would make it look beautiful. And then I would be the creative director where I would come back with edits and what have you. And then they would execute. I remember, honestly, the second day that this person had joined me, I went and got my tires rotated and my oil changed, and it was waiting, like my car was gonna break. I was not taking care of it. And I remember being like, work is getting done while I'm doing this. How amazing is that? And so it was really nerve-wracking to hire somebody. But at the same time, it provided me with balance in my life. And that was priceless.
Yeah. Thank you. I needed to hear that today.
You're welcome.
I just hired someone. So I'm just like,
oh, awesome.
Ooh, I have no money for you, but I hope that I will find some. And then I hope this all works out.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I always say too is, as I grow, as we grow, you grow. So
it's someone who wants to grow with me, and I'm so excited for that. Yeah. And I just can't go to like a big place. Like I know that in my business, especially where we are, there is such an opportunity to scale. And I know that women who are similar in my field are doing it. So there's great examples for me to do the same, like not copy, but in my own way. But so I know there's potential and it's really exciting. So I need someone who will, like, you know, start with me from the exciting beginning and laugh in 5 years.
Yeah.
That was, remember when I couldn't zap? Some people don't know what that is, but you might one day set up your zaps. But even I probably set up all my zaps wrong. And that's why I need to hire someone. Because I'm not a technical wizard, but I'm really happy that I learned all those things. And I went through a year of really learning every element of my business.
Yeah. That's one thing I struggle with too, is giving up control. And I think that that's where hiring strategically comes into play. I am very cutthroat when it comes to hiring. And so we have a very strict very stringent interview process. And I'm hoping that the people who I interview don't find it to be very stringent, but I'm very critical internally when it comes to who we hire. Additionally, with the first 3 months, you're lovingly but continuously monitored and making sure that you're gonna fit, right? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. You have to
Well,
be.
it's your company, it's your baby. It's
You have to be the right
what-
fit. And I
yeah.
tell this to anybody. You don't have to come in to my place and having all the answers. That's not what I'm hiring you for. I expect continuous growth throughout your career here. And hopefully if you aren't here, hopefully you continue to grow as a person outside of the office anyway. But attitude is huge. We had a person who just toxic, like got their work done, but really brought the whole vibe of the office down. I'm like, this can't happen. No. You're like working at a marketing and advertising and creative space, like it should be fun.
Yeah.
Then I would
really
I'd walk to work in Halifax thinking I have the coolest job ever. I'm so lucky to be in this job. That's what I want for me. That's what I want for my staff. That's what I want for my clients, to be like, I'm so happy to be working alongside Red Bicycle or with Red Bicycle or for Red Bicycle. So to have that kind of attitude in here, no, absolutely not.
And do you find as a business owner managing, like, how many is on your staff now?
7.
Yeah, I hear all the time from like small business owners specifically, like it's a lot to have a staff and manage everyone's everything, because it is a lot in itself, and it's one of the hardest parts. So if you have someone having a little cloud over the whole thing, you're like, well, bye.
Right.
Because it just isn't worth it. It's not worth all that energy.
No.
Positive energy and flow for a staff is so integral to the business's success.
Yeah. And we're really big on culture. I think, like I said, I want you to want to work here. I want you to want to work with us. I want that desire. And I want a cool place that I can work too. So I think that's so important for us. And I hope that comes across on our social media too. Like I have people where I want you to walk into the building or see our stuff online or see our work or whatever it is, however you interact with us. I want it to be, I love this. Maybe you don't have a fit for us in your life to, work with you, or maybe you aren't a marketing person and don't need a job type thing, but you just want us in your life. You're like, I'm going to call you for really no reason, just because you're fun and cool. Or one day I'll work for you. I had a lady, a client actually now, one of our other clients had given her a pamphlet. And it wasn't ours. We don't have pamphlets or anything like that, but it was for their program. And she had said, wow, this is amazing. Who made this? And they had said Red Bicycle. And she wrote down that and stuck the pamphlet in her desk drawer. And she said, one day I'm going to work with this company. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want.
I think I've messaged you a few times over the years. I'm like, I wish I could come play with you guys over there.
Yeah, we get lots of we'll have
probably lots of comments like that. It does look like fun, and I have come over there and played a few times. And actually, but my path is so independent and different from. I can't come work for you because I don't want to make ad copy for a living. I make enough ad copy for myself.
Yeah, sorry.
Even though,
your stuff.
oh, that's okay. Even though I probably would love it and fit, it just I have so much going on. But I did get to be a part of your space with a mural, so that was fun.
Our whole basement, if you guys if you follow us on social media or Brandy on social media, you'll see it. Or come on over and you can check it out in person. It is awesome. Like
Such a fun project.
I didn't know what I wanted. I said, I want you to make art in my space. My basement is, as all basements are, dingy and blech. And I want it to be fun. And I want you to want to go down there. And I want to be proud and have clients go down into our basement and not feel like they're going into a basement. And yeah, Brandy came over and she's like, I got this. And just
Ready.
beautiful. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is. I always tour people around and I always hit the basement, where before I'd be like, oh, it's just a basement. You don't need to go down there.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I hope to do more. I one day would like to travel the world and do it, but I have young children and that wouldn't be fair to them to leave for 2 weeks or 10 days. I don't think anyway. One day, hopefully they can come with me. That would be neat. But for now, I'm definitely just sticking to local and scaling up slowly when I'm ready, because my little guys are number one, and I'm grateful that I get to do what I do, and be there for them. And I know that is super important for you too. You are a mom of two.
Yep. I had a boy and a girl. My girl's 3.5. My boy's, I don't know, over a year. I stopped counting. But I would go because I am going, well, not for work, but like I'm going to Halifax next week by myself.
Wow, nice.
Excited. And then Ron, my husband Ron, whenever we had talked about, I'm a big traveler. I love traveling. And I also think that everybody, but moms in particular, that you dedicate so much of your life, obviously growing the baby. If you are one of the ones who are pregnant, birthing the baby, whether that's C-section or naturally, it doesn't matter. Or if you've adopted, right? You have this being that is attached to you, right? And so for me, I chose to breastfeed, and I remember it being, so nice, but also so tedious because I'm the only one that could do it. And yeah, my husband would take weekends away, little breaks here and there, and I'm like, I can't leave. I'm literally my child's food source. So we made a deal that whenever I was ready to be done breastfeeding, which I appreciated that there wasn't like a clock on it, I would be able to go on a holiday by myself. And so when I was done with Lauren, me and my girlfriend went to Italy, and it was amazing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then this time, just with the pandemic and not really knowing what the situation is or will be or what have you, I'm going to Halifax. So yeah.
That's great. Oh, make sure you eat at Chives or their sister restaurant. Have you eaten there before?
2 Doors Down? I
think so, something like that. It wasn't open when I lived there, I don't think. But it was I hear that it's just as good or better. So
I went to 2 Doors Down before. I loved it. I don't know if I've been to I want to say yes. I want to say that I tried to go everywhere when I lived there.
Right. Yes.
But I don't know.
I think they're sister restaurants, and they're pretty close too in vicinity. But again, I haven't been back in
2 Doors Down
so long. Yeah, I also did what you did, except after my second, I called it cashing in my nursing hours, like my breastfeeding hours. Like,
nice.
I did the math. I did the math, and it was 4 days. I was like, I have enough hours cashed in here for 4 days in Toronto.
My holiday pay.
Yeah. So I cashed in my 4 days, and I went and I stayed with my sister-in-law and went to my favorite artist who I had idolized forever, to his first opening in Canada in like years. And I got to meet my idol and go out with him and his posse and go out for nice food, and 4 days of all that with my sister-in-law. And you know what? I was ready to come home after. Yeah. It's funny, like you long for those, but you also miss there's something really fulfilling about our lives, and I can't explain it until like you take it away for a second, and then you're like, oh wow, it's so
like when you left Lloyd.
It's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting, but it's filled with like love at the same time. So it's like this whole thing you kind of balance all the time. But yes, me time is so important. I had like a dorky appointment last week and I got to leave and I was like, oh, that felt so good. I'll book some more dental appointments out of town. That's the desperation level I'm at now. Like,
Yeah.
I need dental problems so I can leave. No, it's
My tooth hurts. I need to go.
three three is something spectacular. It really it's a lot. I love Teddy and he's the best, but three is two, I feel like it strikes a good balance. Three is really throwing a wrench into your life.
That's where my husband wants. He wants 3. Actually, he wants 4, and we compromised on 3.
Gosh.
Now I'm unsure.
I'm just not like, obviously I love my little being, but I said that to someone who was pregnant the other day. She's like, oh, we're having a third. I was like, great. I had literally said to her, I was like, don't have 3. And she's
Too
like,
late. Too late
I'm
now.
pregnant. I'm like, congratulations.
Yeah,
She's
but
super
it's
nice.
different. It's different for
Didn't
everybody.
make it
And if
awkward,
you want to
but-
have 12 kids, go for it. Go have
Yeah.
kids. Like, and that's what I love about motherhood and about being a woman in today's day and age. It's support, and it's, you can do whatever you want to do. The whole feminism movement, I love it. I'm just like diving in head first, and I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, of course, do you. I
Yeah.
just I feel like I really thrive, like as much as I include my children in my practice, I really cling on to my independence. And I know my mom was really like that, and which is great because then you get children who are also independent. Like I read something the other day about um, kids, like you have to let them play on their own. It's not that's their job to play. Your job is not to sit and like micromanage their every moment. They need to just be outside and kind of discover and discover themselves. They need room for that too, or like go read alone. That's never happened for me yet. Someone reading alone, but
it
will.
Important. It's so important.
Yeah. Just
yeah,
like traveling alone. I think everyone should. Have you ever traveled alone?
I think this might be my first time going alone. I've gone on like trips with a friend before where we've done our own thing, but this will be my first true entirety by myself. Like I'll travel across the country and then I'll meet somebody.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm meeting friends in Halifax, but no, this is my first like true alone thing.
It's funny how much you discover about yourself and what you're capable of, number one. And number two, when you are alone, you're more approachable and you're more likely to make connections with other people. Yeah. And it is so invigorating and it's so scary at first. I traveled a lot before I was married and had children, which is great because I got to know myself before I gave myself so much of myself as a mother. So I'm really grateful for that. But like this confidence comes after traveling. You're like, wow, I can really kind of do I did that, and that was terrifying. And it was so important. I hope everyone gets that chance. Not maybe today.
It's so funny. Like you don't even need to travel alone to really like okay. Me and a girlfriend traveled across Asia together, Southeast Asia. And at the end, we were in Bali, and it was the end of my trip, and she was continuing on to Jakarta, and I think she was volunteering or something. And I had to go back to school, and she was done. She was graduated. So when we were there, she got really sick at the end in Bali. Not sick enough that she had to go home, just like flu, whatever. And so then I did a lot of excursions and whatever on my own, because I'm not going to sit in the room.
No. Well, that's
In
happening.
Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went, oh, no, I was in Umbat. So anyway, whatever. I explored the area. I would go out to eat by myself. I would go to market by myself, which all these things I didn't do before. I would always go with one other person at least. And so even that, like if you don't have the means, or whether it's time, money, whatever, to go travel by yourself, go to the movies by yourself, right? At first it was so intimidating. I remember thinking, God, I would never do that. I would never go out to dinner by myself. How embarrassing that I can't have a friend with me.
Yeah.
But once I did it, it was like, I am the best company I've ever had. And why
all the time.
right? Why would I want somebody else to talk to? And when you go, if you go out to dinner, don't turn your phone on and don't be on your social media all the time. Like just sit and be with your thoughts and enjoy, every bite or every smell of wine, if that's your thing, right? Like to just be present it's so silly. It's so minor, but it is a big, big impact.
Yeah. And a gift to yourself.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I hear my baby. So
do you want to go attend?
No, he'll ruin this completely and grab my microphone and click my mouse and grab my keyboard. But we have like 2 minutes. And I want to talk about, we had touched on before, females in business and our community. And I just wanted to say how great I think you're doing at the whole idea of abundance, number one, and supporting other females in business. Because for years, I feel like there was this like kind of competition going. And I just have to applaud you for, I believe in abundance as well, and positivity and supporting one another, because that's when we all thrive. And I like that you are setting that example, not only for women our age, but women coming into business, and women, yeah, just in general in our community. And I think you hire smartly, is that the right word? Whatever. And you do a great job of, hitting all those the age groups too, to like, especially with like social media hires, and just setting a great example. So I want to thank you for that, because it's just such a good feeling when I can sit down with you and your team and know that everyone's rooting for one another.
Oh yeah. And business has come a long way, like from literally being an all boys club back in the day, women weren't allowed to work, to women slowly entering the workforce, to women having to be more like a man to be successful. And then for some reason, women got the stigma of being so emotional. So then they had to be almost bitches to
How
each
about
other.
like passionate? Is that a better word for emotional? Right? How about like passionate and fucking master at multitasking, because we have to take on so much.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now I think we're at the place, generally speaking, where women are supporting each other. And I really want to lean into that. I want to be that support for women everywhere. And I want to see women rise. I think the best thing that you can do is just to be your authentic self and to help others rise with you. And I really want our business to be based off that, but also our community and our world. Like, I think there's plenty of room for everybody to be amazing. And when you help level someone else up, you also rise up. So it's not like back before where you had to push people down to be the only woman in the room. Now it's everyone, let's go, man, woman, child. Like we can all do this. We can all do better. And I think this is my most alarming stat, I think, is that across Canada, 98% of businesses are small businesses. Our Canadian economy literally depends on small business. Okay. Of all the small businesses in Canada, guess how many are female owned percentage wise?
I'm gonna go with 90, or no, not 90, the other way. So female or male?
Female owned business.
Female
Women,
owned. I'm gonna go with 10%.
well, you're not far off. It's 16%.
That's fucking
That is
brutal.
alarming to me.
It's the same as the art
16%.
world. It's still 85% male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Same. And we need
We
to,
are half the population and not even close to a third of businesses.
yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So
It's-
there's so
Okay,
much.
hold on. Pause. We are gonna come back. I am gonna grab my baby. I love it. Grab another tea sip, everyone. We're back with Teddy. Can you say hi, Teddy?
Hi, Teddy.
Yeah. I just couldn't stop after that. Yeah, and if we don't work together collectively to say that that is wrong, because it is wrong. It's
Well,
it's
and
wrong.
and there's a variety of reasons why women aren't entering the business world, right? And it's either, okay, another thing, generally speaking, if you're going to apply for a job, men will apply for the job if they meet 60% of the criteria. Women need to meet 100% of the criteria before they even apply. So we're taking ourselves out of the running before we even have the opportunity.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of women have that standard for themselves where they have to be perfect before they can do X. I need to do whatever, right? Like I need to be highly educated before I can even offer my opinion. I need to be, the best chef before I can help tweak a recipe, whatever it is. You're not going to be perfect. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. So get out there, open your business. I'll help you with it. There's so many great other local businesses, whether you are local or not, there's so many businesses that will help you with running your business.
Not only that, but people who, if you send them questions, they're likely they'll get back to you. They'll help you out.
Totally.
Which is great. Yeah, fear is a big one for everyone, I think. Those first steps. And you know what? It is easier not to. It's easier to just
Even if your life
wish I
isn't
could, but I just not.
what is it, like the devil is easier to trust, and right? So even if your life isn't where you want it to be, it's easier for you to stay in it than it is for you to make a change. And I just want to encourage women to take that first step, regardless of what it is. Fall on your face. We all do it.
I have definitely gotten rejected and fallen on my face so many times.
Oh yeah. There's been days where I've come home and I'm just like bawling and I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying right now. Or maybe it's because I,
probably
really
exhaustion. Probably exhaustion.
I can feel myself tearing up right now. And I'm just like, I just need a nap.
Yeah. That's where, rest and balance does come into play for anyone. If you're having those negative thoughts or doubts or whatever, you need to take a fucking break. Like just a little one, just to recharge. We're all human.
But keep going. Don't
stop. Just to recharge. Like take a nice bath, read a book, and go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to bed without looking at your phone.
I'm not gonna say it's easy. Like moving forward day to day and business and balancing life and anything you're doing, it's not easy. But you know what? And I always use this quote from Mark Manson and his book, whatever it's called, the fuck book, not about having sex.
Don't give a fuck. Art of not giving a fuck.
That's not quite it, but
something like that.
The subtle art. Yeah, the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
He said everything sucks some of the time. It does. Nothing is going to be easy. So what that means is that you need to decide what you don't mind doing in like the sucky parts of it. So you have to decide like what, this part of the job sucks butts, but I don't care because I love it so much. So you have to like what you're doing. But if your job is like sucks so much 100% of the time, you should probably think of a new plan, set some new goals, write it down,
Yeah.
and really think hard about it.
Yeah.
And I
And that,
know it's not always so cut and dry.
but that's the other thing that really sucks too is people feel stuck in these roles. And like I said, we work hard to make Red Bicycle a place where our staff want to work. I don't want you to have to work here. I want you to want to work here. And I think you spend the majority of your time either asleep or at your job. So you better like it.
100%. For sure. Okay, well, Teddy went somewhere.
I saw that. It's like sneaking off in the background.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us and chat. It was so nice to have you here. We sure do appreciate your time as always. So this episode was a member feature. So I have a community now in Facebook, a private group called Color Me Happy. And we are there to support one another and lift one another up and through everything we're doing. And so I'm so excited to have Jill as my first big feature because she's such an amazing person in our community, and I was honored to have her on. You can also check out our new collection online, Geometrics, the Fin collection. As you all know, I'm an artist, and we just launched this whole piece. It has its own gallery solo show at the Assiniboia Gallery in Regina, if you have time to check that out. We also are shooting today in studio our apparel collection that goes with it. It's really rad. So what we did was we took Finn's signature, his really unique signature, and we made stickers and apparel, and we used some of the graphics from the artwork, and it's really rad. I can't wait for you to see it. Go to brandyhofer.ca, and I am super open to you guys reaching out. So you can send me a message anytime. Happy to hear from you if you have any questions. Yeah, and okay. Chat soon. Bye.